the Senate will convene as a court of impeachment.
The US has traveled this road before, but only rarely.
We are here today because President William Jefferson Clinton decided to put himself above the law.
Bill Clinton was impeached in 1998 for perjury and obstruction of justice, only the second president to ever suffer that fate.
It's not in my hands, it is in the hands of Congress and the people of this country. Ultimately in the hands of God. There's nothing I can do.
The only other presidential impeachment was that of Andrew Johnson in 1868. He was accused of 11 counts of high crimes and misdemeanors. Richard Nixon would have been impeached over the Watergate scandal, but resigned beforehand.
To leave office before my term is completed is abhorrent to every instinct in my body. But as president, I must put the interests of America first.
By quitting as president, Nixon avoided a trial in the Senate. Johnson and Clinton were both acquitted after their trials. So what's in prospect for Donald Trump? The jury in his trial will be the 100 senators. 53 of them are Republicans and 47 Democrats. A two-thirds majority, 67, is needed to convict the president. That means 20 Republicans would have to switch sides if he's to be found guilty. Well, with the Republicans controlling the Senate and a two-thirds majority needed anyway to convict the president, it's almost inconceivable that Donald Trump will be ousted from office. So will this whole impeachment process have been for nothing? Well, not necessarily. With an election now less than a year away, politicians on both sides will be anxiously monitoring the public's reaction to all this.
The idea is to make sure that we have a precedent and that we have a clear check on executive power, whether the president is removed or not. The ultimate check on presidential power is the election of 2020.
Until we see the outcomes from the impeachment process to know exactly what impact it will have on undecided or independent voters. But I certainly think that not seeing this process through would have real consequences.
But one thing does seem certain. The trial of Donald Trump isn't going to help this nation heal its divisions. John Brain, TRT World, Washington.
Well, for more on this, I'm joined by Paolo von Schirach in Washington. He's a professor of international relations and economics at Bay Atlantic University. And he's also the founder and editor of the Schirach Report, an online publication focusing on politics, economics, and international security. Welcome to Money Talks, Paolo. Now, as we heard there, Donald Trump has become just the third president in US history to be impeached. Could this be the defining moment in his presidency? Just how damage do you think this will do to him?
Something that happens frequently in the United States constitutional history. As you pointed out, this is only the third time that has ever happened in over 200 years. So this is infrequent. However, in the case of Donald Trump, the country was already strongly polarized between two camps, those who absolutely abhor him and would like to see him gone under any and all circumstances, possibly impeached, and those who like him no matter what. And he has done a lot of rather bizarre things in terms of his personal style. His tweets are famous and what have you. As of now, but things may change in time, the impeachment process and the vote, the historic vote yesterday at the House, has not really moved the waters that much. The country is evenly divided, about 48% for impeachment and 48% against impeachment. We will have to see if once this kind of settles in and is being digested, if this will cause significant damage to Trump and therefore his chances for re-election next year in 2020 or not. But at the moment, it looks pretty static.
Let's talk about the 2020 presidential election. I'm wondering, what impact do you think this House vote will have on Donald Trump's prospects? We saw him address a rally of his supporters. No surprises that they all seem to be against the impeachment vote and in that setting. But I guess as a country, do you get the sense that this might impact his chances next year?
It's really Unclear. What may impact his chances of re-election, quite frankly, would be the possibility, say, of an economic downturn. Things are going rather well with or without Trump at the moment. The economy, as we all know, is doing well, not splendidly, but is doing well. Unemployment is at its lowest historic record in half a century, 3.5%. The latest jobs report is pretty good. So if the economy is buoyant, and in particular, if the Democrats end up nominating a very left-wing candidate, which is quite a possibility, the chances of Trump's re-election are pretty good. That said, much in this country depends on independents. That's kind of the swing vote. If the independents, as all this matter of the impeachment sinks in, conclude, or at least a significant portion of them, conclude that Donald Trump is really unfit to be president, well, then they may, swing to the other side. And as we know, Donald Trump was elected in 2016 with the narrowest of margins. And it was really a lucky shot, if you wish. Those votes can swing back the other direction. And so it's not quite clear if the impeachment process is going to be a determining factor, but it will be a contributing factor.
Let's look at the market reaction to Donald Trump's impeachment. Judging by Wall Street, it seems like investors aren't bothered at all by it. We saw both the Dow and the Nasdaq reach new record highs after that vote. Why are investors not worried? Is it a sign that they have faith that Donald Trump actually can lead the US economy quite well?
Well, look, the reality is that we know how this movie is going to end. It's quite clear, as your reporting also indicated, that as the process moves to the Senate at the beginning of the new year, it is almost impossible to foresee a conviction. As we know, the Senate will act as judge and juror in the second phase of the impeachment process. And so to think that 20 Republican senators will switch sides and join the Democrats and convict Trump and therefore automatically remove him from office is almost unthinkable, unless some kind of a bombshell explodes between now and the beginning of January, and I don't foresee that. Therefore, financial markets and whoever is in charge of the American economy have concluded that this is essentially a non-event. That it's spectacular, it's a lot of theater, a lot of statements, a lot of declarations, and what have you. And of course, it's rare in American history that we have an impeachment process, but they have concluded that nothing is going to change because Trump will survive this unfortunate episode and will carry on campaigning for the 2020 elections. So markets are unfazed, and in fact, they've celebrated, if you wish, with the Dow going higher rather than lower today. So it means that for the money, the money managers in Wall Street and everybody else, this is a non-event.
Now, we know how Speaker Nancy Pelosi was very keen to get this impeachment vote out of the way before Christmas, but it seems like she's now keen to delay the impeachment proceedings in the Senate. Why would she be looking to do that?
It's not very clear to me at this point. She, as we know, she was reluctant to, at the beginning, when many people on the left of the party, that's her caucus anyway, the people who were clamoring to have the impeachment the impeachment process going, she wasn't too keen on that at all. And then I guess she got swayed by the fact that she had to keep some, her constituents, if you wish, happy. And she said, OK, you want the impeachment, let's do it. But the impression was, let's do this fast. Let's do this quickly and get it out of the way, that we have executed our constitutional duty to protect the Constitution. We've said whatever we needed to say. We have filed articles of impeachment, and then we're done. Now, if there's going to be a delay, I don't know if this is a negotiating tactic with the Senate to try to get the debate in the Senate, where, of course, the Republicans control the agenda on more favorable terms to them. Clearly, the Republicans in the Senate also want this thing done very quickly. And so while they will hold the so-called trial, they want this to be done very quickly, be out of the way, and get back to business. So this seems to me a tactic. I'm not quite sure what it means, because the House has to pass on the proceedings to the Senate. That's the constitutional process, although the Constitution doesn't provide specific timelines. No. But it would be unseeming that, having now voted to impeach, they'll say, okay, wait a minute, we're not going to transmit the articles of impeachment to the Senate. Let me think about this a little longer. They've already done it. They voted on it, so it's quite clear.
Okay, Paolo von Schirach in Washington. We'll see what happens next, but thank you so much for your analysis.